Alright, so in this video I'm going to be evaluating definite integrals. You can see I've got one ready to go here. Now, this question might be written like this. It might also be written with some brackets here, but those brackets don't really achieve much. Okay, step by step. Step one is going to be to integrate this thing. So the integral of 3x squared is just x cubed. The integral of 4x is 2x squared. And the integral of -1 is negative x, I hope. Now that I've integrated it, and you might be thinking plus c, I'm going to let us skip the plus c in a minute. I'll explain why a little bit further on. Now that I've integrated it, I'm going to put it in a set of brackets and write the numbers 3, 0, there and there. Alright, there's step one. So we're going to put it into this formula here, which is the first time you've seen it. It says the integral between b and a of f of x is going to be equal to the primitive b minus the primitive a. So that's putting b into the integral and subtracting a inside of the integral. So we're just putting b into that, we're putting a into that, and we're subtracting one from the other. So let's go. We're going to put b in here. So in our case, b was 3. So I'm going to put 3 in for x. Put 3 in for x. Put 3 in for x. Alright, so I've just put 3 into these bits here. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to subtract putting in a into all of those. So that's going to be a is 0, so minus 0 cubed plus 2 times 0 squared minus 0. Alright, now I just need to calculate. So we're going to calculate that. This gives us 42 minus all of that, and that just happens to be 0. So we can say that our answer is 42. So if we want to know the definite integral of that, integrate, sub in our b and a values, subtract one from the other, answer 42. Now I'm going to do another slightly more complicated one, but I'm going to use the identical steps to do it because it doesn't really change. Alright, so I'm going to evaluate this one. It's the integral between 2 and -1 of 4 over 2x plus 1 to the 3 with respect to x. So, step 1 is going to be to integrate that, first of all. Just needed a bit more space, so let's do it. We're going to, first of all, I'm not going to integrate it straight up because I need to neaten it up a little bit. It's going to be easier if I write it like that. Okay, now the integral of that's going to be doing like the reverse chain rule. So it's going to be 4, 2x plus 1, increase the power by 1, divided by the derivative of that times that. Now, that's the integral of that, which I put in the square brackets that we used last time. So we're saying the integral between 2 and -1. Now I can neaten that up a little bit further and just write it as negative 2x plus 1 to the -2 between 2 and -1. Okay, that's a pretty good job. We've integrated it so far. Now we're going to have to use that rule that we had before. So here's our second step. I've just noticed I've missed my equal sign, so get some of those in there. Okay, my second step, I'm going to sub b and a into this and subtract one from the other. So it's going to be -2, putting in whatever that x value is, so that's b, which is 2, plus 1. Just need to be a bit careful here. Bracket, to the -2. So what have I done? I've subbed b into that, and that looks pretty good so far. And then I need to subtract putting a into that as well. So it's going to be -2, put a bracket there, to -1 is my x value, plus 1 to the -2. Right. I keep using these little square brackets here because I want to make it clear that I'm subtracting all of this. So this was f of b, This is f of a, and I'm subtracting one from the other. All right, really now it's just a matter of putting that into your calculator and getting an answer, putting that into your calculator and getting an answer, and being careful about how you subtract one from the other. Might just do this without a calculator, just in case we find ourselves in that position. This is the same as negative 1 over 2 times 2 plus 1 squared, because that negative power is just a power on the bottom. And this is going to be the same as minus 1 over 2 times negative 1 plus 1 squared. Okay. Now, if we look at this, this is negative 1 over 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 squared. So 5 squared, which is 25. And then I'm subtracting negative 1 over 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 1 is negative 1, squared is 1. And that's negative 1 over 25 minus 1, which is plus 1. And that's going to be like 24 over 25. Okay, so that's how you evaluate definite integrals. Integrate it, put it into this formula, and then just calculate it from there. Lots of sort of instances where you can make mistakes with negatives and things like that. But practice, practice, practice.